Hi, Samuel Leeds here, and I wanted to talk today a little bit about some of the tax changes coming in, and should you be buying your property, your next property, through a limited company, or should you just be buying it as an individual? So that's what we're going to be talking about just in the next couple of minutes. Firstly, let me just give you a quick introduction to some of the potential new tax changes that they're bringing in and why I think that they are bringing in. So the government realised that, oh my gosh, property investors are making an absolute killing. We want a slice of the pie. So they're changing some of the rules slightly, and it's basically gonna eat out of investors' profits. Now, some of the landlords that exist today are going to be financially crippled. Some are going to be absolutely fine. As we are professional investors, we're going to be absolutely fine. So the first thing I'll say is don't worry about some of the hearsay around the changes that they're bringing in. One of the legal changes is the stamp duty changes. You have to pay a lot more stamp duty now on properties, which is annoying. There are ways around it if you're buying like 6 properties at a time through a limited company and things like that. But I think the best thing to do on the stamp duty changes is to just accept, you know what? You've got to pay stamp duty. and because you're hopefully buying a property that's going to be giving you a high, nice income each month, you'll have paid off that stamp duty in a couple of months anyway with the profit that you're making through your property. So don't worry about it. Again, as I always say, when everyone else is scared and hesitant, that's the time to be greedy. When everyone's greedy, that's the time to be scared. The stamp duty changes, the tax changes, everyone's like, oh my goodness, get in there now, it's the time. So stamp duty, yeah, pain, get over it. Tax changes, let me just give you a little introduction to what the changes are. What they're saying is that at the moment, if you rent out a property and say the rent is £600 and your mortgage payment is £400, you're left with a profit of £200 each month. And that £200 is what you would pay tax on. Okay, now of course you don't pay tax on the first £11,000 that you earn or whatever it is, but if you're, that's effectively how it works. You pay tax on the profit. What they're potentially bringing in, and they're saying that their plan is to phase it in so that it comes in properly in 2020, but what they're saying is that you no longer can claim your mortgage expense as a tax deductible expense. Which means that if you're renting a property out for £600 and your mortgage is £400, you're still going to have to pay tax on the whole £600. Now, firstly, I'll say I think that is a ridiculous law. It's the only time in the economics of history, in England certainly, whereby you could potentially pay more tax than you earn. Because, I mean, if your mortgage is £600 a month and you rent £600, you're making nothing, but you're still paying tax. So it's a ridiculous law. I don't even know if it's going to come in or not, because I'm kind of thinking it's so stupid. The guy that brought the law in is now no longer in his position anymore. There's uproar amongst hundreds and hundreds and thousands of investors and landlords, and it's going to ultimately affect the tenant. More so than the landlord. So I don't know if it's going to come in or not. But if it does come in, what's going to happen? Well, the first thing that's going to happen is rents will go up, because there are going to be so many landlords that are like, I can't afford to. I was relying on the income, and now I'm having to pay more tax. So they're going to push rents up. Now, rents haven't gone up really from the era of like 2006 to 2013. Rents did not move. Over the last couple of years, they've gone up a bit. Certainly on some of the big properties, you could like rent a mansion before in the Midlands for about £1,500. Today, you're talking at least 2,200. The rents have gone up, but not so much amongst the smaller properties or the rooms. So my prediction is, I think that whether the tax changes come in or not, the tax changes will help it. I think it's going to push rents up. So I'm quite excited about that. So that's one thing I'll say. Also, it might not come in, but if it does come in, it's not going to affect people like me and you that much. Why not? Well, because if our mortgage is £500 and our rent is £600, we're going to be really affected, because we're going to have to suddenly pay tax on on the whole lot, and the big fat mortgage expense that we were claiming, we can no longer claim as tax deductible an expense. However, if you're buying a property that's cheap for like £100 grand or 120 grand, and your mortgage is just a couple of £100, and your rent is like £1,500, if you can't claim that little £200 as an expense, how much is it going to affect you? £30 a month? So the new tax changes are probably really only going to affect you by about £30 per month per property. And they've scared everybody else off, and they've pushed rents up. So really, is it all that bad? I'm not sure that it is, if it comes in even. So I don't think it's really anything to worry about. Now, there is a way around it, like there always is, because you know what? The people that make the rules make money in property. So there's always ways around things like this. So I think that one of the ways around this is to buy properties through a limited company. If you buy a property through a limited company, the rules don't apply to you. You can still always claim the mortgage payments as a tax deductible expense. So a lot of people are now setting up companies and buying through their company. Now, question, is it a bit of a nightmare to do that? It used to be, but now, today, because as one rule changes and becomes more difficult, another opens over here. There's an old saying that says as one door closes, another opens. So although they're making this potential change for the tax changes, they've suddenly made it a doddle to buy properties through a limited company. You can set up a limited company tonight for about £12, and it might take you 15-20 minutes to do it, and then you can buy a property tomorrow through that company. How? Well, because what they do is they used to look at the limited company and they used to say, all right, well, let's do checks on the company and how much does the company make? And it was all about the company. Today, it's not. The company can be a virgin company, brand new set up. What they do is they look at the MD of the company. So as long as you can get a mortgage, you will act as a guarantor for the company. Makes sense? So what you want to do is you want to make sure that the company, in fact, if the company is an old company that's been trading, it's actually more difficult. If you're planning on buying a property through a company, you want to just set up a brand new company with the sole purpose of that company to buy houses. It's really easy to do. It costs about £12 to actually do it. You might want to pay an accountant a little bit extra to actually do it for you. So should you be buying properties through a limited company? I would say probably yes. If you're planning on building a big portfolio, it would make sense. If you're just starting out and it's your first property and you just want to sort of try it and see how it goes, it might be better to just buy it as an individual. Reason being is if you're setting up a company, you're going to have to set it up. You might have to pay someone to do it or do it yourself. You're then going to have to pay an accountant or do it yourself, but you're going to have to treat it as a business and you're going to have to pay someone to do your accounts and things like that. It's not going to be expensive, but for the sake of losing a few pounds a month potentially from doing it as an individual, I think if you're just starting out, I'd probably say, you know what, just buy it as an individual. If you really want to be growing this, you want to be buying lots of properties, then yeah, set up a limited company. If you want help doing that, speak to an accountant. If you email me and you're interested, I can give you the details of my accountant. But if you're just starting out, I'd probably say do it as an individual. It's your call. Hope that's been helpful and look forward to speaking to you real soon. Thanks.